Hello and welcome to Mr. E's Watch Reviews. Today we got something special. This has actually already been on the channel before, but it was on a long time ago. It really didn't get as many views as I really thought it would, just because, it is a Rolex. It is a true GMT, in the sense that it's got the jumping hour hand and all that stuff. When I did the initial review, I didn't understand what I understand now about it. I actually thought the fucking watch was broke. Um, Today, wrist check. I actually happen to have my Rolex on. Sorry. Been working on my AC unit here for the house. But I got my date just on. My buddy Keith from high school and whatnot, he let us borrow the Coke here. Basically, this is really a review of the Coke, but at the end, we're going to compare it to the transatlantic. I'm also going to do a comparison of this with the Manta. Maybe this video, maybe a different video, because it is a Rolex. Just in case y'all are curious, I happen to have all the original paperwork. My buddies got the receipt at the house and everything like that, but there's all the original warranty stuff, the serial number and all that good jazz. When it was sold. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought this was pretty cool. Back in the day, they only came with a 2-year warranty. I do believe they've upped that now to like a 5-year. But this has just got all the cool manuals to go with it and everything like that. How to take care of your Rolex, the servicing and stuff like that. Your Rolex Oyster, the GMT Master, and I don't know why this is blank card is in there, but it is. So we're going to leave that all in there. And we got the genuine hang tag. This watch was actually purchased up towards Fairfax, Virginia. Came with a real nice little polishing cloth. There's Cellini polishing cloth. I actually had to give this thing a nice bath. It wasn't as dirty as the last time we came on the channel. I have been on Keith's ass about wearing it more often. Essentially, guys, he inherited the watch, and he's not really a watch guy. You guys would probably want to kick him squat in the nuts. He keeps this motherfucker in his sock drawer. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, are you fucking serious right now? I was like, either wear the damn thing or protect it better, but just chilling in the bottom of the sock drawer is not okay. You give it a new home. You know what I'm saying? Because again, to him, like, this is just a investment kind of thing. Like, in case shit hits the fan, he could sell something. This is the thing he would sell, which is, again, insane to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's an heirloom. It was handed down to you, dead father or stepfather or whatever, but somebody who gave a fuck about you and made sure you got raised up. At any rate, I don't know. But that's on him. That's on Mr. Keith. But we got, like I said, all the original box and everything like that. Very nice. We're going to move that over off to the side. And we're going to get to looking at this thing real quick. And I'm sorry that the AC machine is now just cut on, but y'all are going to have to live with it because it has been over 95 degrees here today, and it has been showing its ass. So we are not mad that it is running. Now, this watch has been heavily worn. His dad used to wear this watch every single day. So it does got some scratches and everything like that. One thing that I don't like about especially the older vintage Rolex watches, and again, 2005 seemed like just yesterday to me. And you know what? We're just going to have to do this as an individual review for tonight. My battery is running low, but this is a model 16710. Yes, it still has a green sticker on it. Believe it or not, it still has the clear thing that was on the back that covered everything up. That's why that has lasted as long as it has. And you can tell it has been on there quite a while because it's kind of grody underneath. And there's nothing I can do about that without peeling it off. But I don't want to peel it off because you don't want to necessarily take out the green thing. So, or the green sticker. But the bezel action. I don't know if you can hear this. But this feels more like a bi-directional, like 120 click. Like you see, like it doesn't just stop in between the hours. It'll stop in a bunch of different places. So again, on the older Rolex GMT, like I didn't realize that, you know, and again, first time I saw this watch, it was very, very dirty and grimy, and the bezel didn't want to move at all. So I washed it up that time, and I've washed it up 2 or 3 times. Like every time I see Keith, I'm like, give me the watch. You know, and I go give it a bath. So first thing I did today was bring it home, give it a bath. And, you know, it was nowhere near as filthy. Like first time, like it had thick black gunk all up in the links, like all up inside of here and everything. It was just, yeah. So I really do like the dimensions of this watch. But because of like the way the bracelet is made, and again, this is one of the first generations of the Rolexes that got solid end links. So this is actually a better and beefier bracelet, and these links are not hollow; they are solid. So this is actually heavier than a lot of the other vintage Rolexes you'll pick up, and it's like one of the problems that I have with a lot of the vintage Rolexes. The bracelets are shit, and they feel like shit. And when you pick it up, it makes the whole watch feel cheap and shitty. So, you know, but again, we'll just, for shits and giggles, we're going to weigh this one up. And this is sized up for Keith. I think it's only missing 2 links. So this is weighing in at a 126.3, where newer stuff is going to be a little bit closer to 135, missing 2 links. This thing does actually run pretty good, and like this is one of the things that I didn't realize about the watch. And see, he's got it set on the right date right now, but like the whole jumping hour hand with this thing. Oh no, that was the winding position. You know, to set the date. Like, this is just such a pain in the ass. They have to constantly go around and around and around like that in order to get the date set, just for the cool function of, oh, I landed somewhere. There you go. You know, for me, while I'm on the plane, the way I would do it would be to use the collar jumping hand to set home time or the time of wherever I'm going to be, and that way I can get 2 time zones at one time, one with this one with that one, and then if I really need, you know, move the bezel around. Now, I know on the newer GMTs with the ceramic bezel, it is not like this. You only have the spots in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like this, you know. Hang on. We're not doing a comparison of this because, like I said, my battery's dying on the watch or my phone. I'm going to do this video tomorrow. But like how this, like the position's there or it's there. You know what I'm saying? It's either in between or it's on. You know, where with this, you can literally set it anywhere. All right, I'll tell you what. Like I said, the battery's about to die. I'll give you all the other dimensions and everything like that tomorrow when we compare it directly against the transatlantic. But I just wanted to let you guys know I had this in my possession, and we're going to do all that. We'll get them videos up tomorrow. Do the direct heads up. All right, later.